Hello बच्चों, this is the lecture number 17 of the unit electrostatics, and in this lecture we will solve some numerical problems. First is example number 2. Two charges 3 into 10 to the power minus 8 coulomb and minus 2 into 10 to the power minus 8 coulomb are located 15 centimeter apart. At what point or points on the line joining the two charges is the electric potential 0? Take the potential at infinity to be 0. Here in this question it is given a system of 2 point charges having opposite signs separated by a distance 15 centimeter and asking for the point at which potential will be 0. In the solution of this question, the magnitude of the two charges along with their signs is given and the separation is given 15 centimeter here. We are considering that the potential is 0 at point P from the charge Q1 at a distance R. So, for potential to be 0 at point P, the sum of the potential due to both the charges at P should be equal to 0. Therefore, we can write that potential due to system of charges Q1 and Q2, V is equal to Q1 by 4 pi epsilon naught R plus Q2 by 4 pi epsilon naught D minus R at point P. Now putting all the values and solving, we get, here we will put V is equal to 0. So V 0 is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught 3 into 10 to the power minus 8 upon R minus 2 into 10 to the power minus 8 upon 15 minus R. After solving this equation, we get the value of R is equal to 45 centimeter. So, at a distance of 45 centimeter from charge Q1, the potential of the system of the 2 point charges will be equal to 0. Also, we can see that this point will not lie in between the 2 point charges at the line joining the charges, but it will be away from Q1 and Q2 at the line joining the two charges from the charge Q1. Next, example number 10. A 900 picofarad capacitor is charged by 100 volt battery. How much electrostatic energy is stored by the capacitor? B. The capacitor is disconnected from the battery and connected to another 900 picofarad capacitor. What is the electrostatic energy stored by the system? Here in this question, there are two parts. In first part, it is asking for electrostatic energy stored by the capacitor having capacity 900 picofarad and is charged by 100 volt battery. And in second part, it is saying that when this capacitor is disconnected from the battery after charging and connected to another capacitor of same capacity, then what will be the electrostatic energy stored by the system? In the solution of this question, it is given that the capacitance of the capacitor is equal to 900 picofarad or 9 into 10 to the power minus 12 farad and the potential difference is 100 volt. For part A, electrostatic energy stored in the capacitor is given by the formula U is equal to half CV square. By putting the value of C and V, we get U is equal to 4.5 into 10 to the power minus 6 joule, which is the answer of first part. For second part, let initially the charge was Q on the capacitor, and after connecting it with another capacitor of the same capacity, the charge will be Q by 2 on each, because both the capacitors have the same capacity, so charge will be equally divided. According to the relation Q is equal to CV, if charge become Q by 2 on each, then V will also be equal to V by 2 on each. Therefore, the energy stored by the system is equal to half C V by 2 square. By putting the values, we get U is equal to 2.25 into 10 to the power minus 6 joule, which is the required answer of second part. Next is numerical from exercise. Question number 5. A parallel plate capacitor with air between the plates has a capacitance of 8 picofarad, where 1 picofarad is equal to 10 to the power minus 12 farad. What will be the capacitance if the distance between the plates is reduced by half and the space between them is filled with a substance of dielectric constant 6? Here in the solution of this question, it is given that capacity of the capacitor is 8 picofarad and the dielectric constant is 6. Let the separation between the two plates is D and the area of the each plate is A. We can write capacitance of the capacitor is C is equal to K epsilon naught A by D. Here K is equal to 1 for air initially as given in question. So the formula becomes C is equal to epsilon naught A by D. Later, when D is reduced by D by 2 and the space between the plates is filled by a substance having dielectric constant K is equal to 6. So the capacitance becomes C dash is equal to K epsilon naught A by D by 2. After putting the values of K and C, we get C dash is equal to 96 picofarad. So we can say that when the distance between the plates is reduced by half and the space between them is filled with a substance of dielectric constant 6, the capacitance of the capacitor will become 96 picofarad. Next is question number 9. Explain what would happen if in the capacitor given in exercise 2.8 a 3 mm thick mica sheet of dielectric constant 6 were inserted between the plates while the voltage supply remained connected after the supply was disconnected. In this question, it is given that if a 3 mm thick mica sheet having dielectric constant 6 were inserted between the plates of a capacitor in exercise number 2.8, what will happen when the voltage supply remains connected and that when the supply was disconnected? In the solution of this question, it is given that the dielectric constant of mica sheet is K is equal to 6. Initially, the capacitance of the capacitor is 1.77 into 10 to the power minus 11 farad and voltage supply is 100 volt. Part A, when the voltage supply remain connected, the new capacitance of the capacitor will become C dash is equal to K into C. By putting the values, we get C dash is equal to 106 picofarad, and the new charge on the capacitor will be Q dash is equal to C dash into V, which is 1.06 into 10 to the power minus 8 coulomb. And the potential across the plates will remain same, which is 100 volt. So we can say that if the voltage supply remain connected, the capacitance and the charge of the capacitor will change. For part B, if the voltage supply was disconnected, then charge on the capacitor remains the same, which is 1.8 into 10 to the power minus 9 coulomb, and hence the potential difference across the capacitor becomes V is equal to Q by C. By putting the values, the potential difference across the plates of the capacitor is equal to 16.6 volt, which is the required answer. Next is question number 12. A charge of 8 millicoulomb is located at the origin. Calculate the work done in taking a small charge of -2 into 10 to the power minus 9 coulomb from a point P 003 centimeter to a point Q 04 centimeter 0 via a point R 069. In this question, it is given that there is a charge 8 millicoulomb located at the origin as shown in figure, and we have to calculate the work done in taking another small charge -2 into 10 to the power minus 9 coulomb from point P to point Q via point R. In the solution of this question, it is given that Q naught is equal to 8 millicoulomb or 8 into 10 to the power minus 3 coulomb, and Q1 is equal to -2 into 10 to the power minus 9 coulomb. Also, the distance between OP and OQ is given. As we know that electric field is conservative field, so work done in moving a charge in electric field is independent of the path chosen. So the work done will be unaffected by taking the point charge -2 into 10 to the power minus 9 coulomb from P to Q directly, or from P to R, then from R to Q. So work done can be written as WPQ is equal to Q naught VQ minus VP. Now putting the values of VQ and VP, we get WPQ is equal to Q naught Q1 by 4 pi epsilon naught R OQ minus Q1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught R OP. Here Q1 by 4 pi epsilon naught is common, so it will be out of the bracket, and by putting all the values and solving the equation, we get work done is equal to 1.27 joule. Next is question number 18. In a hydrogen atom, the electron and proton are bound at a distance of about 0.53 angstrom. A. Estimate the potential energy of the system in electron volt, taking the zero of the potential energy at infinite separation of the electron from proton. B. What is the minimum work required to free the electron given that its kinetic energy in the orbit is half the magnitude of potential energy obtained in A. C. What are the answers to A and B above if the zero of the potential energy is taken at 1.06 angstrom separation? In this question, it is given that in a hydrogen atom, the separation between electron and proton is 0.53 angstrom. They are at a fixed distance, and we have to estimate in part A the potential energy of the system in electron volt, and by considering zero potential energy at infinite separation of the electron from proton. B part, the minimum work required to free the electron given that its kinetic energy in the orbit is half the magnitude of the potential energy, which has been obtained in A. And in part C, what will be the answers of A and B if the zero potential energy is taken at 1.06 angstrom separation? Now the solution of this question is, it is given that the distance between electron proton of the hydrogen atom is 0.53 angstrom, or by changing it in meters we can write 0.53 into 10 to the power minus 10 meter. Charge on electron is minus 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb, and charge on proton is plus 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb. And the potential energy at infinity is 0. In part A, let the separation between the electrons and protons is d. So we can write the potential energy of the system is U infinity minus UD. As it is given in part A that potential energy U infinity is equal to 0. So by putting the value of UD here, we get U is equal to minus 43.47 into 10 to the power minus 19 joule after putting and solving all the values. We will convert this value in electron volt by dividing the value through 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19. So U is equal to minus 27.17 electron volt, which is the answer of part A. For part B, it is given that the kinetic energy is half of the magnitude of the potential energy obtained in part A. So the kinetic energy is equal to 13.6 electron volt. So the total energy will be equal to sum of kinetic energy plus potential energy. By putting and solving, we get total energy is equal to minus 13.6 electron volt. Now work done is equal to change in potential energy. So we can write delta U, that is change in potential energy, is equal to potential energy at infinity minus potential at R of each electron. So putting the values, potential at infinity is equal to 0 minus potential at distance R, which is minus 13.6 electron volt, we get work done is equal to plus 13.6 electron volt. Therefore, the minimum work required to free the electron is 13.6 electron volt. In part C, when we consider zero potential energy at a distance d1 is equal to 1.06 into 10 to the power minus 10 meter. Therefore, for part A, potential energy of the system will be equal to potential energy at d1 minus potential energy at d. By putting all the values, we get QE into QP upon 4 pi epsilon naught d1 joule minus 27.2 electron volt, which we have obtained in the last section. By putting all the values and solving, we get potential energy of the system is equal to 21.73 into 10 to the power minus 19 joules minus 27.2 electron volt. After converting 21.73 into 10 to the power minus 19 joules into electron volt, we get 13.58 electron volt minus 27.2 electron volt, and the potential energy of the system for part A is equal to minus 13.6 electron volt. Next is for part B, work done is equal to potential at 1.06 angstrom minus potential at 0.53 angstrom of each electron, and it was given in part C that consider the potential at 1.06 angstrom to be 0. So after putting the values, we get work done is equal to 13.6 electron volt. Next is question number 23. An electrical technician requires a capacitance of 2 microfarad in a circuit across a potential difference of 1 kilovolt. A large number of 1 microfarad capacitors are available to him, each of which can withstand a potential difference of not more than 400 volt. Suggest a possible arrangement that requires the minimum number of capacitors. Here in this question, it is given that an electrical technician wants to make a circuit across a potential difference of 1 kilovolt, and he requires the capacitance of 2 microfarad in whole circuit. He has a large number of 1 microfarad capacitors, and each of them can withstand the potential 400 volts. We have to suggest the possible arrangement of the capacitors that requires the minimum number of capacitors. In the solution, it is given that total required capacitance is 2 microfarad. Potential difference in whole circuit is 1000 volt, and the capacitance of each capacitor is 1 microfarad. Also, each capacitor can withstand a potential difference of 400 volt. Let the possible arrangement of circuit can be such that n capacitors of 1 microfarad each be connected in series in a row, and m such rows be connected in parallel as shown in figure. So we can write the total number of capacitors required, which is n is equal to n cross m, that is n into m. Let us consider it as a equation number 1. Since the potential of each row is 1000 volt and one capacitor can withhold 400 volts, so the number of capacitor in each row is 1000 divided by 400. That is total potential divided by potential carried by one capacitor. It will come 2.5, and since the number cannot be taken in fraction, so we will consider it as 3. So there are 3 capacitors in each row. Now we will find out how many rows are in the circuit. Now as we have calculated the total number of capacitors in a row, now we can calculate the equivalent capacitance in each row. Since the capacitors are connected in series, so the equivalent capacitance will be 1 by C1 is equal to 1 by 1 plus 1 by 1 plus 1 by 1, since each capacitor has 1 microfarad capacity. After calculating the value, we get C1 is equal to 1 by 3 microfarad. which is equivalent capacitance in each row. As total capacitance required in the circuit is 2 microfarad and there are m rows and each row has the capacitance C1. Therefore, we can write C1 into m is equal to 2. From this we get m is equal to 6. Now we can calculate the total number of capacitors required for the circuit from equation 1 as n is equal to small n into m. By putting the values we get the total number of capacitors is equal to 18. Next question is question number 25. Obtain the equivalent capacitance of the network in the given figure for a 300 volt supply. Determine the charge and voltage across each capacitor. In the solution of this question, it is given that C1 is equal to 100 picofarad, C2 is equal to 200 picofarad, which is again equal to C3, and C4 is equal to 100 picofarad. Voltage supply is equal to 300 volt. For first part, we have to find out the equivalent capacitance. You can find out the equivalent capacitance by calculating the combination C2 and C3 firstly, and after taking the equivalent capacitance of the resultant of C2 and C3 along with C1, and finally joining it with C4. Here I have calculated whole the calculation in a single formula. Since C2 and C3 are connected in series, so we will use the formula of series combination to find out the equivalent capacitance, which is C2 into C3 upon C2 plus C3, and these two capacitors are connected in parallel with C1. So the equivalent capacitance of C1, C2 and C3 will become C1 plus C2 into C3 upon C2 plus C3 as shown in numerator in the equation. And finally we will find out the equivalent capacitance of all four including C4. C4 is connected in series with the other three as shown in the next figure. So we will again use the formula of combination of the capacitor in series. Finally, the expression we get for equivalent capacitance of all the four capacitors is C4 into C1 plus C2 into C3 upon C2 plus C3 divided by C4 plus C1 plus C2 into C3 upon C2 plus C3. By putting all the values of capacity here, we get the equivalent capacitance C is equal to 200 by 3 picofarad, which is the answer of the first part. Now to find out the potential across the each capacitor, firstly we will find out the total charge in the circuit. For that we will use the formula Q is equal to CV, as we have obtained the equivalent capacitance of the circuit, which is 200 by 3, and the value of V is given in the question. So by putting the values we get Q is equal to 2 into 10 to the power 4 pico coulomb. By converting pico coulomb into coulomb, we get 2 into 10 to the power minus 8 coulomb, which is the total charge in the circuit. Now we can find out the potential across C4, and which will be equal to Q by C4. So by putting the value we get V4 is equal to 200 volt. As we can see here in the diagram, V4 plus V1 is equal to V. So we can write V1 is equal to V minus V4. By subtracting we get V1 is equal to 100 volt. Next, C2 and C3 have same capacity and hence they will also have the same potential difference. As we can see, the potential difference across C2 and C3 is V1. So V1 will be equally divided between C2 and C3. And we have obtained the value of V1, which is 100 volt. So the potential difference across C2 is 50 volt, and that will also be across C3. For calculation of charge on each capacitor, we will use the formula Q is equal to C into V. So charge on first capacitor Q1 will be equal to C1 V1, and by putting the values we get Q1 is equal to 10 to the power minus 8 coulomb. In the similar way, we will calculate the value of Q2, which is also 10 to the power minus 8 coulomb after calculation. Since the potential and capacity of capacitor C2 and C3 are same, therefore charge will also be same, and hence the charge on third capacitor will also be 10 to the power minus 8 coulomb. For charge on fourth capacitor, which is equal to charge calculated in last slide, so the value of Q4 will be equal to 2 into 10 to the power minus 8 coulomb. Next question is question number 28. Show that the force on each plate of a parallel plate capacitor has a magnitude equal to 1 by 2 Q into E, where Q is the charge on the capacitor and E is the magnitude of electric field between the plates. Explain the origin of the factor half. Here in this question, we have to prove that force on each plate of a parallel plate capacitor due to other plate of the capacitor is equal to half Q into E, and also explain the origin of the factor half in this formula. In the solution of this question, we know that the magnitude of electric field between the plates of a parallel plate capacitor is given by E is equal to sigma by epsilon naught, where sigma is the surface charge density on each plate of the parallel plate capacitor and epsilon naught is the electric permittivity of the free space. Let this is equation number 1. However, the magnitude of electric field of one plate can be written as E dash is equal to sigma by 2 epsilon naught. So we can write force on one plate of charged capacitor due to other plate is F is equal to Q into E dash. By putting the value of E dash here, we get F is equal to half Q into E. The physical significance of the factor half in the formula lies in the fact that just outside the conductor, field is E and inside it is 0. Hence, it is the average value E by 2 of the field that contributes to the force. Homework is you have to solve the example number 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and rest of all the questions of the exercise of this chapter. Thank you.